Okay. This interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of the video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard. Today is June 25th, 2009 at 11 a.m. This is an interview with Robert Kahn in Washington, D.C. He was born on December 23rd, 1938 in Brooklyn, New York. Today, the internet is used in so many different ways, and with Facebook and YouTube and everything, but people can access personal information differently. Like, their personal lives are shared more than they have ever been before, whether or not you know about it sometimes. And so what do you think about that, and how people are sharing so much about themselves on the internet? Did you ever think that would happen, and
Was it true for you?
I mean, I guess so.
Your whole personal life is out there.
Not the whole personal life.
I never had a real expectation of exactly what would happen. In fact, when we started working on computer networking, it was just an interesting research challenge. Mm-hmm. And when we started with the internet, it was to sort of show how you could make that happen. So little by little, it kind of snuck up on me by surprise.
Yeah.
That, oh my goodness, look at that, and oh my goodness, and oh gee, did you see NBC News had such and such on, or this got on, the cable channels or whatever. Little by little, it just was really a big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the biggest driver of the internet in the past and probably in the future is going to be all the innovations that come from people who just sort of take what's come before as a given.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to figure all
Start
that stuff
out. Start from scratch or anything.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be the innovations that really drive this in the future. And if you say, well, like what? I mean, all you can do is think linearly, because if somebody really could think out of the box and say, well, here's the thing nobody's ever thought about before, and if you could just do this, here's what it would enable,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd have dozens, hundreds of people trying to figure out how to make that happen. In fact, one of the questions I got from a group of young, I think they were scientists at the National Academy, and some young lady, I think she was like 15, she got up in front, she was the designated questioner. She said, Dr. Kahn, we have one question for you. I had just given a little talk about the internet. She said, how did you manage to convince all the governments of the world to let you build the internet? And I said, it's actually an interesting question. The reality is that when we were doing this, nobody cared. Nobody thought it was going to lead to anything, therefore nobody stood in our way. If you have an idea and everybody can understand it and think it's a great idea, then they're all going to be rushing in to capitalize on it. Mm-hmm. The reason I think I was fortunate to have been able to do a lot of this stuff is nobody thought this was a viable track. And in fact, they really did think I was throwing my career away. So it's sometimes, trusting your own judgment, figuring out where you think things will go, making a bet and being right about it that pans out. Now, of course, if I had been wrong, I'd probably be trying to figure out, what's my next job, if you like, and you wouldn't be having this interview, but that's sort of the way it is.
And
so my advice to you would be, if you ever have a really good idea and you really believe in it, trust your instincts and go for it, because if you try and do the conventional thing, it probably will produce a conventional result.
Yeah, that's so true. And this is our other question, non-serious question, but have you ever ordered a pizza online?
Ordered a pizza online? No, I've ordered things online, but I don't think I've ever ordered. In fact, I stopped eating pizza a few years ago when I tried to get my weight down, so trying to get on a low-carb diet. We used to eat a lot of pizzas, but I just picked them up, on the way home. I still, sneak a slice of pizza in here and there.
And do you still read a print newspaper?
I love reading print newspapers. I mean, I understand the economics of the newspaper industry are changing pretty dramatically. But you could ask the same question about people reading at all. The fraction of people that literally sit down and read books is small compared to the overall size of the population. most people today are getting their inputs in more in the form of snippets. You
Yeah.
know, they'll hear a sound bite here, a blurb on TV. They'll go onto the internet and they'll see a byline. It's 4 lines long. They don't get into the in-depth side of things anymore, and I think that's unfortunate.
Mm.
But people have to want to take the time to dig in and read the material.
Right.
I mean, my wife is an avid reader. She probably goes through 5 or 6 books a week. She'll just yeah. So I mean, when you talk about print newspapers, if you're not going to get it in a print newspaper, where are you going to get it
Right.
at that level? Now you might say, okay, I don't like the reporting in the papers. I don't like their style of reporting, but you can't stay current and wait for the historians to report on what's going on, because that might be 100 years from now.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I mean, you can read a variety of sources. That just takes more time. But I've never been very comfortable with just getting all of my information from snippets.
Yeah.
Having said that, I do look occasionally on various websites, usually not the same ones all the time,
Yeah.
and just get a sense of what's happening. So, I want to find out who's winning the golf tournament or who's winning the tennis tournament. You can find out the latest little snippet, but there you're just looking for a snippet. You don't want the in-depth analysis, of what
Why or
was
anything.
her golf stroke or her tennis stroke like. So.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.